How's everyone doing? And let's find out. Hold on. I'm usually pretty good at this, but not tonight. Is this supposed to?
No volume on it?
No. How's everyone doing? My name is Steve Wondrell. I run a website called Collider, and I am thrilled to be moderating this because I really like supporting indie cinema, and this is indie cinema. So let me introduce two people tonight. First is composer DJ Muggs. And we have one of the actors in the film, Emily Willis. Yeah, they make it so you can't see out. Well, you know, please. You've done this. Well, first of all, everyone who came out tonight, thank you for supporting like true indie cinema. And I just want to say thank you. And but jumping into the two of you guys, so I have a bunch of questions, but I'm curious. Probably the most important one up front. If divinity was real, would you actually take it?
Hell yeah.
I would as well. I thought about it. I definitely would.
I really do like that the movie gives you that choice of you can either live forever or you can basically have a family. I was actually wondering if Eddie had that thing figured out where like if you have a kid then you can take divinity. I had a lot of questions when I was watching. Did you have any of those kind of questions on set or when you were talking to him?
Yeah, I had a lot of questions, but I just, just trying to just give Eddie what he needed, man, what he wanted. He created his world, and I just tried to give him the sound to fit his world that he created.
For both of you, what was it actually, for each of you, what was it about this project that said, yeah, I totally want to do this?
I mean, I saw Eddie's previous films, and I love his filmmaking. I really just was like, I have to do this. It's so, I mean, I love sci-fi and I love thrillers, and I love the concept of the movie, and I love Eddie's vision. It was I'm so lucky that I got to work with him. It's one of my first films.
Oh, this is a little bit outside of my comfort zone, like, from what I usually do. So, I worked with Dean Hurley before. I've done a lot of big Hollywood films, and doing something independent, he was pretty much like, here's the film, it had no sound on it, and he was like, do what you want, and we had some talks, we went back and forth, and it was just, I got to stretch my imagination and just play with sounds and play with textures with the sounds and just try to, build the soundscape for him.
I'm so curious, how have you been describing this film to friends and family?
Mind fuck.
Yeah. I would say the same. I mean, it really is a trip. You go on an adventure, like you just are going for a ride, honestly, and the visuals are incredible.
It's like a little bit of Racerhead.
You go on an adventure for sure.
Sorry, I wanted to hear both of you.
Sorry, you definitely go on an adventure into this film.
For both of you, I read a lot of stuff that Eddie said about the film, and he implied that this is a different planet, different place. But did you get that vibe, or did you think this could be Earth in the future, or this is just another Earth, or did you know what I mean?
I mean, wherever you want to take your imagination, you're gonna go with it, you know what I mean? But I was definitely in a different planet when I worked on this shit.
I actually want to, DJ, I'm curious, you have done a lot of music, and if someone has never heard anything that you've done before, what is the first thing you'd like them listening to, and why?
Shit, I would just I have no idea, man, just go figure it out.
There's not one track or one thing that you have any?
Nah, not really. It's not up to me. I'm just like, you want to go search it up, go Google that shit, go Mugs, and I've done a lot of things from Tricky, YouTube, Cypress Hill, Rock Marciano, Action Bronson, County, like a lot of things across the board. I worked on Training Day.
That's what I mean, though.
A lot of shit. So there it is.
Your resume is what we call sick. Like, if you don't actually know his work, please look him up, and you will understand. He's done one or two things you might like. Just 3 or 4.
Maybe, hopefully.
I'm confident. For both of you, what do you think would surprise this audience to learn about the making of this movie? Are there any like cool behind the scenes stories, or you know what I mean, like interesting facts?
I think when we went into it, we were all just really excited, and when the location of where we shot it at it really did feel like another world. It was so magical, and like the location just you really did feel like we were on another planet. Yeah.
When I met Eddie, I met him at Soderbergh's office in Santa Monica. He didn't have a script, he just had storyboards. He's like, "This is the film." I'm looking, I was like, "All right." Called me about 3 months later, and still didn't have a script, so he kind of developed things as he went along. He wrote it as he went along, and he was changing things on the spot, and also it was shot in film. And they had to make the film format Kodak. It was a certain kind of film they didn't have, so there's not a lot of movies made on film anymore.
You'll look specifically, it's like 16 millimeter. I forget the thing. It's like I forget the term. It's a
Chromatic.
Yeah, it's something that it's a weird format. Does anyone know?
Reversal, black and white.
There it is. 16 millimeter black and white reversal.
That's right.
So, which is highly unusual. But what was that like for you actually on set working with film? Did you ever feel like he was ever, you got to get this, we're shooting on film, you can't fuck around, or?
Yeah, I guess there definitely is a difference between shooting on film. There is a much more time requirement. You have to definitely get it a lot quicker than you would otherwise, but yeah.
I also heard that with this film stock, you had to have the lights.
But it also, it looks so cool when it's so worth it.
Oh, 100%. But I heard that the lights had to be super bright to light. I'm not sure if that's the way it was in any of your shots. Do you remember being super hot on set, like the
Yes.
lights?
Yes.
Plus it was in Joshua Tree, right?
Yes.
Must have been 100
And we
degrees
shot
out.
in Joshua Tree.
Exactly. So I'm curious, with when you step in to do this, because you haven't scored a lot of movies, as far as I know. I apologize if you have done more than. So I'm just curious, what is like the first step? You see the footage. Do you watch the whole movie and then figure out where you want to go? Do you mind taking me through your process a little bit?
Yeah, I watched the whole movie, and I spoke with Eddie. We talked through all the scenes, what he wanted, what his vision was, what he was looking for, and then I just had at it, and then I would send him things back and forth, and some things we dialed in really quick, and some things took a little bit longer. He had some temp music, he wanted some things with like the same vibe, but totally different. He's like, "Oh, give me the same vibe, but different." I was like, "All right." And then I worked on this with Dean Hurley, who did a lot of work with David Lynch, and so some of the droney stuff, I would just stack maybe 10, 15 tracks of droney things and send them to Dean and let him mix them.
For both of you, what is it like watching, actually maybe it's more for you, Emily, what was it like watching this for the first time, seeing everything together with the stop motion and like everything you went for? Because you were only like, a piece of the cog, if you will, or the pod.
I actually love the stop motion. So we had not seen it prior to, and we didn't see any edits prior to it premiering. Honestly, it really was so cool just seeing it all come together, and with the music and the soundtrack and just everything being like put together was just really so cool.
For both of you, when you were making this, did you have any thought at all that this was going to get into Sundance? Because it's actually really cool that this played at the festival. Because again, this is like a real indie, you know what I mean? And a lot of times, even though Sundance, I love Sundance, but it's been co-opted by like bigger movies, and I appreciate that something like this can show there.
Yeah, absolutely. I did too. Eddie took a lot of chances. He wanted to make something that you've never seen before. Make a one-on-one and just boldly go seeing how a lot of the films, a lot of it's franchise things and a lot of blockbusters, and it's good seeing an indie director just taking a chance and just stretching his imagination.
For both of you, when you think back on the making of the film, what's like the day or two that you will always remember, or if you could just like share a fun day from the making of the film?
I guess my first day on set, this was my first film that I shot, and I was just working with Steven and just the whole cast. I loved getting to, honestly, and Josh Tree was so cool to work at. Just the energy being there, you really just, whenever you get to like shoot at an actual location and instead of on set, it just makes everything feel so real and really like be in the moment.
Yeah, I don't think I had a specific day. I think it was just the journey of making the film, which pretty much the journey was the destination for me. And watching it as he was adding scenes, because he did a lot of reshoots. As we was working on the music, he was still working on the film, adding shots and adding things. So just watching the whole thing come together, man. And then finally getting to sit back and watch the final thing with all the sound and everything. It's like, oh shit, that's what we did. All right.
Well, one of the things I think is really cool is that Steven Soderbergh was really responsible on helping to make this film. I'm not sure if either of you can talk about that at all, but I just want to make sure the audience knows that Soderbergh was very supportive in making sure this film got made.
Yeah, when it was done, he described this as, he said, Eddie just made a thing. And I was like, yeah, he just made a fucking thing.
I mean, listen, I give props to Soderbergh. Not only do I love him as a filmmaker, but I really am thankful that he is willing to support artists who are breaking the mold, because, this is not something that Hollywood is going to make. This is, you know what I mean? This is art.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to go.
I can totally agree with that.
And I think, it's the anti-blockbusters, what they did. They got one really bad review from New York Times. All the other reviews were great.
I thought you were going to say Collider and be like, fuck.
They said it's the anti-blockbuster, and they actually pulled that and made it the tagline for the promo.
Have you seen, because I think there's a Red Band trailer for this coming out. Have you guys seen any of the other marketing?
I've seen some trailers, just pretty much the social media stuff.
The new ones, yeah, the trailer is really, really cool. I do remember when we were at Sundance, there was a crazy review about, somebody said that someone went into, they had a seizure and gave birth during the premiere. and I just remember thinking, wow, that's so not what happened, but I think that's kind of really cool.
I was going to say that.
We definitely did something.
I appreciate how certain people can make up headlines. I'm not going to say anything. Anyway, I'm curious about the editing though, because you saw different versions as Eddie kept on working on it. So I'm curious if you remember if there were any radical tweaks along the way, or you know what I mean? Because this is something obviously you find it.
When I first saw it, there wasn't a lot of the voiceovers, so he completed this. He tied it together with the story, just adding voiceovers and doing some reshoots, and adding things that there was some holes in it, and he just kept filling in the holes, filling in the blanks, filling in the blanks. Till you got the body of work you see.
I'm not sure if anyone in the audience actually has a question or not. I can keep going, but I want to make sure that I can't actually see a fucking thing. Sorry, right there.
Yeah, I got a question for Muggs. Muggs, can you talk about your stuff is always cinematic, and you have the new album coming out and the project with Gold Watch. But did you do any processing, or can you talk about the atmosphere that you created and any techniques how you back in the day would record stuff and put it through boombox speaker? Can you talk about the technical process and everything?
No, I didn't. Some of the tracks, most of it's a lot of droney, atmospheric, you're on some fucking desert planet, you know what I mean? So I just went for that first and just layered and layered and layered, and then after that it was a lot of as she would walk across the room, things was changing from here to there to there. You see the expression on her face, just adding sounds just to evoke emotion as the scene was happening, So there was a lot of that, and I wanted a few more beats in the movie. pretty minimal from drums and things like that, you know. So we have the intro scene. I think we got the club scene, and we got the outro with Kool Keith. And it was done. We had finished it without Kool Keith, and it was like, let's get Kool Keith on this motherfucker. And I was like, yeah, it'll work. He's spaced the fuck out. And just so happens he was in town, and he was blessed to make it happen.
With something like that, how long does that take to actually record and, you know, get together?
What, for Keith, the whole process?
No, like for Keith.
Oh, it was just a day, man. Keith guys played with the track, we went in, we laid the vocals, and the next day, another day.
That's crazy. I am very envious of people who can do stuff like that, because that is just so not in my wheelhouse or a lot of people's wheelhouse.
Yeah, man, Keith's a genius, you know.
I'm curious, this is, I believe, your first feature.
Yes.
So what actually surprised you about making something like a feature like this and, you know, working with Eddie that perhaps you weren't expecting going in?
I didn't know that it was gonna do what it did. Also, you just never know what you're getting. I didn't know fully what I was getting myself into. Whenever just things fully getting to see the film come together, I was like, wow, I got to be a part of that, and I'm just really lucky and very thankful for it.
I'm not sure if there's any other, it's hard to see. Well then I'm just gonna say that, because we're near the end of the Q&A, what do you think would surprise people in terms of your taste when it comes to movies and television? Is there like a movie or a TV show that's like a guilty pleasure that most people would not suspect that would come from you?
No, this is right up my alley right here, you know what I mean? So,
Sure.
I was into this shit right here, so definitely glad to be part of this, you know what I mean? The whole thing though was to get Eddie's vision across. That was it. It was, you know, it wasn't really about me at all. It was like, what you want, Eddie? How can we make it happen? And let's make it happen.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was gonna be like, for example, you're a huge fan of Princess Bride.
Oh,
No
yeah,
one would
that's right.
ever expect that.
Honestly, I do love horror, and I'm into a lot of art house movies, but I love rom-coms. I guess I love rom-coms.
They're not going away.
I think that would probably surprise people.
I'm trying to imagine Eddie doing something along those lines, but it's never gonna
I don't
happen.
think so. I don't
Yeah.
think that is anywhere near Eddie's his alley.
Eddie is not here to talk, so I'm curious for both of you, what do you think would surprise people about Eddie that perhaps they wouldn't know through his work?
Probably come out wearing a crazy fucking mask. See the mask he wears?
I haven't.
You know, watch when you see him next time. Every time there's a Q&A, he got this wild ass mask on.
I'm just thinking about, you were gonna say?
I honestly, working with Eddie has been so cool. I just getting to see every time he shows me what he's working on or what like anything along the process of when we were editing and before it came out. He loves it, and it's really cool to work with somebody that is so in love with what they're doing, and is also very collaborative and cares about what we had to think or say about the film. And there was a lot of times that he did show me, and I'm sure a lot of the other cast members, where the process was at, and I really appreciated that. I just think that he has a really incredible vision.
I'm curious what it's like on set, because I heard that there wasn't, you know, he had storyboards, but it wasn't really like a script. So I'm curious what it was like on set and how much changed, where like you would do a take and then he would say, oh, we're totally switching this. We're gonna do it this way. Or was it not like that?
No, for mine, I did have a little bit of a script, but I don't think that there was a script, really. It was a storyboard. I remember the first time that after I did my casting, I went to the office and I just saw a storyboard, and I thought that was very, very unique.
I'm curious for the music, if you don't mind. I've spoken to a lot of
Well,
people.
that's also when I knew, I was like, we're doing something really cool. When I saw the storyboard, I was like, okay, this is gonna be really fun.
I'm curious with the music. A lot of times when I speak to people, they talk about how they will go back to something because they're never like truly satisfied with certain things. Was there a sequence or a track or a moment that you kept tweaking or going back to, or do you know like, oh, this shit's done. I'm good.
I pretty much knew what I was going for. There was a few times like something I liked, and then it was like, yo, can you do something like this to it and flip it a little bit? So I was like, no, sure, no problem. So I just go back in and dive it into like, what do you want?
One of the things though I'm so fascinated, and I just said it a little bit with music, is when do you know that it's done? Like, are you able to let go? Like, I mean, or are you always thinking I could tweak it a little bit more?
Nah, I think there's an art in knowing when it's done. It's a feeling. It's just an instinct. You know what I mean? And that's just as important as the beginning and the middle is knowing when it's finished.
Is there, what do you think you've spent the most time on for a track of music? Is there something that you've spent like months and months working on?
I think when I was younger, you know, I'd work on tracks, like something I'd work on, and there was tracks I really didn't like, so I would go back, keep going back to those over periods of time, just because there was something in there. I like the drums or I like the music, so I would change the drums, change the music, and I would, you know, work on other shit, just keep going back to certain tracks that I knew there was some potential in them. I just had to find it. You know, I knew it was there waiting for me in the future. It was like, how do I get to that shit?
Did this film give you the acting bug? Are you attempting to do more movies?
Yes, it absolutely did. It definitely gave me the acting bug for horror as well, and I really am very, very thankful and lucky that this was my first film that I got to, feature film that I got to be a part of, because when you just watch it, I myself was like, this is so fucking cool. And I really, it did give me the acting bug for sure. I've gotten to work on a couple of other films that are also in the horror genre.
Do you get to play a scream queen in anything upcoming?
No, that would be really cool. I definitely am working on my screen.
Okay. For everyone in this audience, movies like this need support, and so if you enjoyed this film, please use this thing called social media to let people know about it. And I believe it's out November 3rd.
Yes.
I see the nod. I just wanted to make sure I was saying the right date. And on that note, we really appreciate you coming out to support this, and everyone have a fantastic evening.